I'm just going to restart this. This is like the third time I did this. My phone was running out of data, and so I kept like having to pause and delete things. I'm just going to redo it. So I wanted to do a little sick girl video for you guys today, because specifically dealing with autoimmune illness or chronic illness or whatever, you're going to have flare-ups and you're going to get sick, and that's just the way that it is. So I've been kind of recognizing that more and more, because I keep waiting for the time. It's like, oh, I'll feel better. Like, I'll get better. And especially with I've recently had an issue, well, not recently, but I've had an issue with my back for a very long time, and I recently realized that, like, doctors told me that it's just not going to get any better. It will, in fact, get worse as time goes on, and so it's like having to sit and deal with that and be like, oh, I will have to chronically manage pain, and I will have to chronically manage illness, and it's just the way that it is. So, but not feeling discouraged about it, because it's like, to me, it's like, if you are like chronically ill or chronically sick, you're like, you have the choice to like really level up and become like a really badass person, or you can be a little whiner, and I want to be the badass person. So one of the things that I wanted to talk about was while you're sick, and just, in regular life anyway, but avoid distractions and avoid any kind of fake work. And unfortunately for me, like, cleaning has become fake work, because I used to really, and I still love having my space clean and everything, but with not having, like, I call it pain points. Like, if I don't have sometimes my back hurts so bad I just can't do it, like, and like I can't. So to me, working would be sitting down and writing part of my book, or prepping for classes, or sending off emails, or something like that. And if I waste the time and energy and pain points cleaning my room, when I sit down to do my real work, I'm going to be exhausted, so I just don't bother with that anymore. So if there are things that you just feel like you can't do, and you have other like really important things, like, your money depends upon it, do those things first, and don't let the other things get distracted. And then you can reach out for help, and that's something that I'm really not good at. But as a chronically ill person, and just, as a person in general, you need to have your list of things that, like, I can do this by myself, and I should do this by myself, and then the list of things where I need some help with this. So it's like, for me, there's no heavy lifting, you know what I mean? So it's like, if I need help with and like the things that I've been able to lift have gotten, like, so it's gotten smaller and smaller and smaller, and I hate being seen as like, I'm not a 98-pound weakling, but there comes a time where you're like, I just need help with that. So you reach out and ask for help. Keeping your expectations of yourself within good parameters. So that doesn't mean giving yourself a pass to just be like, well, I can just not do anything at all because I'm sick. And the problem is that sometimes, people are like, well, just take a day off. And it's like, well, yeah, but if I took a day off every time I was sick, I wouldn't like get anything done, probably, because I don't feel well, So pushing yourself in inappropriate ways. So I'll have like a list of things that I say, okay, this is really important to get done. And then also, like, are there things that I can do while I'm laying down, or are there things that I can do while I'm resting, or whatever? So like emails, we can send those on our phones now, so I try to do some of those. That also can lead into bad habits where you're like on the phone all the time. And then you start doing fun things, and then you like, so you can get distracted and stuff. So have times for that. Like when you're like, okay, I'm going to be doing work on my phone, and I'm not going to do anything else. A lot of times now I put a timer on things. And then taking, making sure that you're really taking like top care of your body. And it does get exhausting to be like, I haven't been eating perfectly, I've been, whatever, and I'm still not getting any better. But it will only get worse if you don't take care of your body. So make sure that you're sleeping. And I just don't scrimp on sleep anymore. I just don't. Like, if I need to sleep in, I sleep in. Like, I do like to get up early, but if I'm tired, I let myself just rest, because I'm not going to do any good work if I'm tired, you know what I mean? Knowing when to stop, and like as a dancer and as a person who's been fairly athletic for most of her life, I really have a pretty high tolerance to pain, and I like to push myself. And even today, like, I did some stretching, and I'm like, oh, I really feel that, So know what your boundaries are and when to stop. And if something doesn't feel right, then just stop. It's okay. You don't need to like get to the point of pain. And I think if people who are chronically in pain or chronically sick, we have a higher threshold for things. So you have to know when it's like appropriate for you to say, that's enough for me, I need to stop, because otherwise I won't be good to anybody else. And we want to be good to other people, and we want to be good to ourselves, but we have to be able to help ourselves before we can help other people. Make lists and prioritize. Really, really prioritize. Say this is number one for me today, and even if I don't get anything else done, I'm gonna get at least this thing done. And maximize your minutes. So like if you have 5 minutes, maximize the heck out of those 5 minutes. You don't have to be spending hours and hours doing things. If you need to break things up into smaller chunks, do that, because whatever's going to make it easier for you. And also, you don't need to get, especially if you're like, I'm really, really grateful because I'm starting to work more for myself, and so I feel like I'm finally getting into this thing where I'm like, oh, like if I'm really, really tired, I can take a nap and do that at another point in the day. And like I'm praying, and I'm going to be really grateful if I can have this schedule from now on where I set my hours, because I know when I'm good and when I'm not. Like when I worked a 9 to 5, it was terrible, and if I went back to working 9 to 5, the problem with that for me is like sometimes I'm flaring or I'm tired or whatever, and so I love to work and I work hard, but the problem is that if you have that weird flux and flow and you're not good for like a good chunk of the day, but you might be fine like for a good portion of the evening or something like that, being able to have your own schedule is invaluable. So if you can develop a skill, on the side of whatever you're doing, and I know it's so hard. I am so grateful for all the skills that I've had, because I do feel like I'm going to be able to work more for myself, which is, I can't stress how amazing that is. And I really feel for people who are locked into a job because they can't work for themselves. So I'm really a big advocate of I just think everyone needs to have a skill. You know what I mean? College might be good for some people, but if you have a skill that people will pay for, that is invaluable. That is, because that means that you're able to be your own boss, have your own business, have the desk of you, and that's amazing. So don't ever think that I have to be stuck. No. Develop a skill, and then you'll be able to get yourself out of wherever you are. What was the other thing I was going to say? Oh, relax about everything. I was telling one of the girls who are staying here, I was like, I just kind of told myself one day, because I really had especially with bipolar, and I've been having a down week, and especially if I'm sick or if anything knocks my immunity off, it's so I can get hyper creative, but then when you're tired, that's just the worst. You flood of ideas, and you're like, I can't do anything with this. So but I was telling one of the girls, I just kind of refuse to be stressed about things, unless it's a life or death issue, which that can be bad, you know what I mean, because that can make me procrastinate or whatnot, but I refuse to be stressed. I just refuse to, because all that's going to do is throw me into a tizzy, and then I'm no good to anybody else, and I can't do what I'm supposed to do. So don't stress about stuff so much, it's you're not going to die immediately, and so it's just keeping all things in balance, and but do things, do little bits at a time, do what you can, ask for help when you need it, and really it's just don't give up and don't quit. So and keep as focused as you can. So if anybody has tips for things like that, I would love to see them. I'm going to be working on my story for the next couple of hours, and then I will probably take another nap. So anyway, so much love to all y'all, and if you have any tips or anything, just share them in the comments below, and I'd love to hear from you guys. Okay, bye-bye. Have a great day.